You're listening to the Monday Night Community Show with Daniel on BRFM.
Told you so.
Come on, you two. Do stop this squabbling.
He's a bad loser, always has been. Anyway, Bargeman had it soft.
I know him.
All right, Grandad, take it easy, but I will say this for the barges. They were the ones that brought the rough stuff down.
There
Some
you
fun
are,
with that.
The barges had their uses.
Rough stuff? That doesn't sound very nice. What is it? What did I say?
You don't know about the rough stuff?
You've got to be joking.
Go on, go to the foot of our stairs.
Well, I'm sorry.
Oh,
but-
don't you worry, love. Just because you wasn't drug up like some. Had it a bit easier like in life.
I should say so, lardy-dar.
It was an early form of recycling.
Oh, I do approve of recycling.
Oh, I bet she does.
Yes, barges would bring all the rubbish from London down here.
But why?
They didn't want it, did they?
Well, why would we want their smelly old rubbish? Haven't we got enough of our own?
Because I'll explain to her, will you?
Well, as I understand it, they used the rough stuff to make the bricks.
What, they made bricks out of the contents of people's dustbins? Oh,
Oh,
that can't be right.
I'll go to sea.
Well, kind of.
Calorific value?
I beg your pardon?
He said calorific value.
Oh, here we go.
There's no substituting brickmaking for household rubbish. Ash has a high calorific value.
He means it made the bricks hard. Hardest bricks in the world came from here, you know.
They used to offload the rubbish and then sift it. The rubbish was taken away and what was burnable was used to fire the kilns. And the kilns made the bricks and the bricks went in the barges and the barges took the bricks back to London. And that's why we had the best bricks.
London was built on its own rubbish.
Mind you, it was a bit more complicated than that.
But the important thing was that you could pick over it first for the good stuff.
Ugh, what sort of things?
Oh, anything useful. Something your mum could use. First thing I found was a saucepan. It was only a little bit burnt at the bottom. I suppose some lazy bones couldn't be bothered to clean it. Do you know, I could only have been about 6.
Here, do you remember that crane driver with the bike, Jerry?
Yeah, he'd been unloading rough stuff from a barge, and he had this bike in the claws.
I really wanted it. It looked virtually new.
But he kept it just out of your reach, swinging around the bout all morning. You kept jumping up and down like a lunatic. You just kept laughing.
And, yeah, he left it there, didn't he, dangling while he went for lunch, a rotten swine.
I kept trying to grab it, but couldn't quite reach. But I got it in the end, didn't I?
Only because you kept on and on and on at the poor bloke all afternoon, until he finally gave up on you. Wonder he didn't drop it on you.
And what about those Panama hats?
What about the Panama hats?
Weren't you there?
Oh, I couldn't have been.
Well, we found a trunk full of Panama hats. All for weeks after that, all us kids was wearing them. We all looked really funny, I must say. They were several sizes too big for us. They kept falling down. We was totally deaf.
Don't you mean blind?
No, they kept falling down over our ears. We was totally deaf.
Harry Woolley, he drove one of those big cranes. He came over with a grab, picked up a mattress, and as it came up it tore open and it was full of £5 notes. It must have been somebody's life savings, and the funny thing about it was it had been kicking around outside the yard for weeks.
But you could always make some money down there, couldn't you? A little bit of copper here, a little bit of brass over there. The only problem was there's some really horrible things, you know, like dead dogs, even a dead donkey. And the place, well, it was full of rats.
Well, my dad told us about them rats. Once when he was going on his barge, there was hundreds of them probably come off some old barge somewhere. They knocked him off his feet. He used to say, they say rats leaves a sinking ship. Well, I knows all about that because I was knocked over by a shoal of them.
Oh dear.
Oh, yeah, it was pretty disgusting.
Yeah, Captain Bligh, do you know that one about the rough stuff?
Rough stuff back to here, but we had to take the black bricks up to London first.
There's been brickmaking here since the Roman times, you know.
All right, Prof, just because you wrote a pamphlet about Milton Creek, I see it was back in the post office's bargain bucket Again.
Oh, don't be horrible. I thought it was very informative. Bit detailed, perhaps, but very historical.
Thank you, Carol. Nothing wrong with a bit of learning. We're not all blessed with David's level of total ignorance.
Oh, charming.
Bless you, Peter's level of total ignorance. I like that.
All right, laughing boy.
The traditional Kentish bricks were soft red. They were called malms. You see them in the front of old buildings still today. But it was during the Regency that things really got going.
When was that then?
Well, by 1845, Sittingbourne had an annual production of 30 million bricks.
Oh, 1845? Oh, that's going back a bit.
Well, George Smeader came into the picture, hadn't he?
Smeed of Smeed and Dean.
The very same. He had the sense to buy up the brickworks that made the bricks, the barges to transport them, and get paid to bring the rubbish back that he needed to make the bricks in the first place. A very astute man was our Mr. Smeed.
If he was so astute, how come he got pinched for smuggling wine and brandy?
Did he?
He did. And he was sent down for it at Maidstone, you know.
How do you know that?
Well, I'm not as silly as you think I am.
Perhaps not.
They was all at it, smuggling. Milton Creek was known for it in the old days.
Ah, but it wasn't just wine and brandy they were smuggled in.
Well, what was it then, clever clogs? What was
Wool.
it then?
Wool? But why wool?
Only certain places was allowed to export wool, and this wasn't one of them. But they did, and they paid no taxes on it.
Oh, I'm pleased to hear that. Well, there's no sense in paying taxes unless you really have to, is there?
Typical.
Your precious Mr. Smeed didn't pay 'em either, did he?
No, but that was different.
Anyway, I'll tell you this. Brickwork was hard work.
Everybody had to work hard around here. There weren't many soft numbers to be had.
I mean really hard work. You muddies had us muddies had the back-breaking work, up to our knees in water at the only side of the swell, digging out the mud, nothing more than a glorified paddles, and having to heave it up over the top side of the barges, and hours on end in all weathers. We had it tough, all right.
Yeah, wait a minute. That was all well before your time. You told me you were in the auto plant in the lower field, in one of the long tunnel kilns, and the bricker slurry was piped to the washbacks. Now, I'm not saying you were sat on your backside all day, but you never had to go digging mud out of the swale,
I didn't exactly say that, did I? But I heard it from my father. He told me all about it.
Mechanisation had taken over when you was in the bricks. When the tunnel kiln closed, it alone had fired over 1,000 million bricks. London was built of our bricks. All the well-known places, Buckingham Palace, our bricks is in there.
Yeah, my old dad sang a song about a ceremony they had when the millionth brick had been fired. Something about a broken pipe.
Yeah, that's true enough. When the millionth brick was made, they raised a flag, and the foreman, he'd walk over to the thingy bob there, and he'd break his pipe in half, and he'd press the bowl part of it into the soft brick, ready before it was fired. And then they'd stop the shift and retire to the bricklayer's arms for refreshment.
My dad got so refreshed one day they had to carry him home.
Funny enough, when Bills was carrying out repairs on an old house in Sittingbourne recently, they found all the bricks were stamped S&D.
For Smeed and Dean.
Yeah, by now they were saying it stood for strength and durability. S&D, see? Anyway, and inside one of them broken bricks they found the bowl of an old pipe. It must have been the millionth brick. It makes you wonder what it must have been like on the day. I can see it now.
Don't forget paper. The paper mills was an important part of Milton Creek.
Forget the paper mills. How can you forget them? What with the stink they used to make?
Nothing wrong with a bit of a smell. It was all part of the character of the place.
Character. That character has stripped the paint off your car if the wind was in the wrong direction.
Anyway, my first job when I was 14 was on the wharf. You know, where Home Base is now. It wasn't very nice. There was this crowd of women sorting out the rags and the waste paper. The women were all a bit rough, but they was all right with me. It was the boys my age that got it.
Got what?
Well, ceremonies, that kind of thing.
Oh, that's nice. Welcoming speeches? Oh, I expect. Oh, it reminds me of my school days.
Not exactly. Like I said, there was a group of about 50 girls, and when some poor lad came in delivering something or other, well, it was like lambs to the slaughter. Talk about embarrassing.
Oh, I see. Oh, they'd make them stand up and say something.
They'd make them stand up, all right.
That's enough from you. Thank you very much. You mean the boot blacking?
And worse.
Not the milk bottle?
Yes.
Not the one where they take a milk bottle and put it on the end of the
Oh,
corner.
yes.
Blimey.
I'm sorry, I don't understand.
Oh, that's just as well.
When my dad first heard about it, he got me a job in Sitting Bull Mill, in the Saul. It was much nicer. It was clean and it was quite warm, especially in the winter. And the girls were respectable. We had to sort out the paper and anything else that had been rejected in the mill.
And dump it in the creek.
Well, first, yes, but then things got much tighter. Great big filters were fitted to stop the debris getting pumped out.
Oh, it sounds terribly heavy work for a woman and dangerous. I had trouble pushing the library trolley when it was full.
Oh, my heart bleeds for you.
It was hard work, all right, but most people I knew worked hard, and there was danger. Mostly it was physical. Bad backs and going deaf because of the machinery, that sort of thing.
But there were some really horrible accidents too. I heard about this father and son. They were working in on the paper making machine, you know, and the boy, well, he was at the wet end, and the dad, well, he was on the finishing end. But this particular day something went really wrong because the paper started coming out all discoloured, pinky with red bits in it. Well, anyway, the father thought, well, that's not right, so he goes to the other end where his son should have been. Well, he wasn't there. He'd fallen into the hydro pulp, and it was him coming out the other end.
I don't know anything about that.
Oh, that's
no.
terrible. Surely they closed the place down.
No, of course not. But things did get a lot better. They go on about health and safety, but it made a big difference to us.
Well, I heard that the safety record in the factories was excellent.
Oh, well, now this is where the bosses were a bit fly. Every year, you see, the firm would pay for a free do in the social club. Free drink and free food, free beer, wasn't it, Jerry?
Aye.
Yeah, but just as long as, and here's the clever bit, as long as there was nothing much had been written in the injuries list.
I don't understand.
Well, you're going to think twice about reporting an accident if all your mates know that you're the one responsible for them not going on the firm's annual Beano.
That's dead right.
Well, it all seems a bit unlikely to me. Tall stories.
Well, you suit yourself, but that's how it used to be.
But what I really remember isn't how hard we worked or when people got hurt or anything like that. What I mostly remember is how well we all got on.
Yeah, that's right. We all knew each other. As you know, I lived in Frederick Street, and all right, it was a rough area. A very rough area. Policemen wouldn't go down that street on their own. They'd always go in pairs. But I used to come out of my house at the top of the walk down Cockleshell Walk, past all the little cottages which used to be there, up the hill to Spring Street by Holy Trinity School, and then down under the railway bridge to work. What? Less than a quarter of a mile. And by that time, I'd walked, and I'd said good morning to 50 times to different people. You don't get that now.
Oh, I remember those cottages. My granny and granddad used to live there. All gone now, of course. In the 60s, they tore the art out of Sittingbourne. I think they called it slum clearance.
It's the people. The place is the people.
Of course it is. Yeah, do you remember my Uncle Lou? He lived in the cottages. Did I tell you about the time he wanted me to help him clean his chimney?
Oh, go on then.
He said to me, boy, are you going to help me clean my chimney? So I said, yes. But he never put a cover over the chimney breast or anything else. Just a 12-bore shotgun. And he let fly with both barrels up the chimney. Bang, bang. Well, the soot came down. There was soot over this, over that, all over the floor, furniture. and we were covered from head to foot. And my aunt came in and she took one look, and the last time I saw them, they was running up the street with her chasing him with a rolling pin. Well, I got home and told my dad, and he said, "What have you been up to?" And I said, "Well, Uncle asked me to clean his chimney." And I told him what happened. Well, he fell about and he fell over laughing.
Well, if the place is the people, then the place must be bonkers, because the people certainly are.
I'm not so sure they are so much anymore. What? Bonkers? People seem too busy just doing ordinary things, I don't know, like shopping and bringing up the kids, even to say hello, let alone have time to be eccentric.
Oh, go on, Dave, it's just your age.
Yeah.
Folk round here will always do strange things. It's hammered into 'em, like strength and durability were pressed into the bricks. It's part of who we are.
Very nice. But unless I'm very much mistaken, we're back from whence we departed. I say, conductor, is it safe to get off yet? I think there's just enough funds left in the Milton Creek Residents Association kitty for one more treat at whatever it's called. Has anyone seen my purse? I know I had it just now.
Purse?
Where can it be? Where is it? Thank you, Jerry.
Well, the crew and the captain of the Webster, thank you for your support on this voyage, and we hoped you enjoyed your passage, and remember the sailors as you get off.
It's no good putting your hand out, mate. You'll get nothing from us. We're old age pensioners, you know.
Did you say the Webster?
Yes.
Well, I'm jiggered. You know, there was a barge called the Webster in these parts. You know, usual trade, bricks up and rough stuff back. About 1900, something like that. She was found anchored up in the swale with the crew dead in their bunks. And you know, not a mark on them. They reckon the fumes from the rubbish overpowered them in their sleep. Anyway, she was no good after that. She got cantankerous and spiteful, and the Webster would get her crew into trouble just for the sake of it. That's what crews were like in them days, superstitious. Anyway, they beached her over at Elmley and set fire to her. Yeah, this couldn't be her, could it? Where did he go?
Jim?
Jim?
Yeah, hold hard, wait for me, I'm coming.